Hello, Chris Godinez, licensed professional counselor, the host of We Need to Talk with Chris Godinez. This video is for educational and informational purposes only. If you feel you need a therapist, please go to Google, type in therapy, your city, Psychology Today will pop up. There will be lots of therapists in your area. Go click on there. Also, the views and opinions stated herein are mine and mine alone. They do not represent the ACA, the APA, or anybody else for that matter. All right. Boom, shakalaka, I got it done. All right, so I've got like 17 or 18 questions that I need to answer today. Okay, so the first one, rape by deception. What is it? Okay, rape by deception is when somebody pretends that they are going to marry you or, have a relationship with you or whatever, and then it turns out, oh no, they're married, they have a girlfriend, so it's basically they've lied to you and said whatever they needed to say to get you in bed. That's rape by deception. So, wow, Tijuana, hello, Tijuana. So it's rape by deception is when somebody tells you a story that is not true to get you into bed under false pretenses. So, I'll marry you, of course I'm single. No, I don't have a wife, whatever. And then it turns out, oh, look, they've got a wife or a girlfriend and no, they're not going to marry you. So yeah, that's rape by deception. So whatever story they tell you. Or a worse one is, which abusers have pulled as well. Oh, I'm sterile. I can't get you pregnant. It's okay if we don't use a condom. Again, remember, because when you're dealing with abusers, they're trying to get their hooks into you any way they can. And oftentimes that means getting the partner pregnant. Or if the narcissist is a female, becoming pregnant in order to hook the guy. And yes, narcissists can be female as well. Abusers can be female as well. Hello, Elizabeth. So, okay. So rape by deception is basically anytime anyone tells a load of crap in order to get you into bed. That's basically what it is. So that's rape by deception. Okay, what is Munchausen by proxy? Okay, Munchausen by proxy. I don't know if you guys have ever seen The Sixth Sense. It's an old, I'm old. It's an old movie, and it was with Bruce Willis and Haley Joel Osment, I think was his name. Anyway, he was psychic and he could see dead people. And one of the dead people he saw was a little girl that had been murdered by her mother because the mother kept poisoning her to make her sick so that the mom could get all of this attention and all of this sympathy and things like that. That is, I see dead people, yes. That is Munchausen by proxy. So in other words, the abuser is not the one getting sick. They're making somebody else sick. So it's when you've got kids that are constantly sick all the time and constantly going to the doctor, and then it turns out there's nothing wrong with them, and the doctors finally catch a clue. You're dealing with somebody who is really, truly psychopathic, and it is, oops, sorry, clunk as I hit the table. It is Munchausen by proxy. It is a way to get attention by causing illness in somebody else, usually by poisoning. And yeah, no bueno. Rat poison seems to be the favorite that they use. So that is Munchausen by proxy. Is it a form of narcissism? Yeah, it's more a form of psychopathy. They're crazy, they're psychopaths because they're harming somebody, they don't care. So that is Munchausen by proxy. And it's a very maladaptive way to get attention by making one of the children or a husband or a spouse sick all the time and then being the caregiver so that everybody goes, oh, poor you, you're having to take care of all these people, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, that's it. So I hope that answered that question on Munchausen by proxy. Toxic parents, why do they need roles? Okay, so when you are dealing with a toxic dysfunctional family, okay, back up. Hold on. When you're in a healthy family, nobody has roles because mom and dad are cool and they're fluid and they understand that, sometimes one kid is going to do better than the other. And, sometimes one kid will be acting out and sometimes the other one will. And everybody is fluid. It's like there's no roles. There's no roles. You just are who you are. And there's no putting somebody into you are always the golden child. You are always the scapegoat. You are always the ignored middle child. You are always the little comedian, that kind of thing. My hair has just exploded today. I think it's because we have some clouds out and it's like all of the humidity and it's like 3 times larger than it normally is. Anyway, so roles. So remember, when you are dealing with somebody who is toxic, they cannot handle real life. They cannot handle people just being themselves. They cannot handle non-rigid rules. So in other words, when you're dealing with an abuser, you're dealing with somebody who's got some pretty rigid thinking, their way or the highway, good or bad, all or nothing, black or white. It's called splitting, okay? So in order to cope, people with a personality disorder or dysfunctional toxic parents put their kids in these neat little boxes, and by God, they had better stay in them, because that's how the parent can identify and relate to them. So it's not like they have to be real. It's not like they have to be fluid or anything else. So they put these kids into these nasty little boxes, and then they stick them in there, and they make sure that they don't move from them, because it's a way for the toxic parent to be able to relate to them consistently, and it's usually consistently badly. And it's a way for the toxic parent to be able to dump all of their projection and all their nastiness onto this poor kid, or all their hopes and dreams. Conversely, they'll live through the golden child. The golden child is the one that they live through. So yeah, so they need the roles because they're not real people. Real people don't need roles. Real people recognize that the world is fluid. Everybody changes, everybody grows, everybody goes through spurts, everybody goes through phases, but not with the toxic family. The toxic family goes, this is who you are, this is who you're gonna stay, you're never gonna be any different, period. What the actual? What? Yeah. So that's why they need roles, because they can't cope with the fluidity of real life, which is going to be another question that's coming up later. Okay. Hello, everybody. Okay. So talk about traits of a personality versus full blown. Okay. So in traits of narcissism, let's say, okay, let's do, down here at this end, we've got the traits of spectrum, and then we've got the full-blown malignant, holy crap, run for the hills, they're crazy. Okay, so traits of are minor traits of, kind of like you can kind of see it in them, but it's not to the point where it's full-blown. So a little arrogant, a little haughty, a little bit of expectation of being treated especially well without any merit for it. The traits of little stuff like that. Full blown, when it gets down to the point where they're hitting every single criteria, that's full blown. So traits of, they've got maybe one, maybe two of the criteria, but once they hit full blown, they've got every single trait. Absolutely, every single trait. Same thing with borderline personality disorder. So again, down here you have little traits of, they might be a little histrionic, they might have some fear of abandonment, but once they start sliding into the malignancy and they are full blown, they hit every single marker. So if you're interested in looking up what the criteria is, you can go onto Google and Google the DSM-5 and just type in DSM-5 criteria for borderline personality disorder, or DSM-5 criteria for narcissistic personality disorder, or DSM-5 criteria for whatever else you want to look at, avoidant or paranoid, or any of the other ones. So in other words, if it's traits of, it's like one, maybe two, and then because usually the DSM is usually like 9 that go, here's this, and if they hit 5 of them, yeah, you've got a full blown. So that's that. So that's what I mean by traits of versus full blown. Okay. Is calling out behavior a form of supply? It can be. It can be. So if you are dealing with somebody who is harming somebody and you call it out, remember, narcissists especially would rather have negative attention than no attention at all. So yeah, it could be a form of supply, but again, it's like that, walking that line of, do you say something and risk the behavior continuing, especially if there's a child involved, or do you say nothing and pray that nothing happens? It's kind of like, okay, well, what's weighing it out? It's like, what's going to benefit the kid, the target of abuse, the most? It can be seen as a form of supply, because remember, narcissists especially need somebody to hate. And so if the family member is going, hey, we don't like this person, here's what we're seeing, the narcissist will twist that and turn that and be like, there's the person I hate, and I'm going to get the target of abuse to hate them too because they see me for what I am. And then they go to town, and now they've got a triangulated relationship. Remember how I talked about triangulation? They love to have somebody to take the focus off of them because they're actually the problem. But then they say, oh no, it's the family member. Oh no, it's the friend. Oh no, it's your kid. Oh no, it's the whoever sees the abuser for what they really are. So they will triangulate with that person and make them the bad guy. Okay. Hope that answered that question. So yeah, it could be a form of supply because that gives them their jollies. It's like you even, you tell them that they're this horrible person or this behavior is not normal or whatever. And instead of going, see, a normal person would be like, oh, let me go inside and see if this is real or not. And oh dear, if this is real, holy crap, I need to do something about it because I don't want to be that way. I don't want to be that person. A narcissist or a malignant borderline, remember malignant guys, I'm not talking traits of, I'm not talking the quiet ones, I'm not talking the hermit ones, I'm talking the queens and the witches. Okay, when they get to that point, they don't care. The nastier they are, the happier they are. The more drama there is, the better their life is because the focus is off of them and it's on to somebody else. And look outside, look outside, look outside. So it can be a form of supply, absolutely. So just be aware of that, Okay, why do I say the truth will always come out? Because it does. Here's the thing. Narcissist, and it may not happen in your timeline. I just want you to know that. So it's kind of like karma, okay? So the truth always comes out. The truth always comes out, always, always. And this is what eventually gets bad guys, which is why I love the fact that most criminals are pretty well stupid, because the truth always comes out. The truth always comes out, always. It may not happen in your lifetime. It may not happen fast enough for you, but eventually the truth will always come out. And here's the reason why. Narcissists and borderlines, if they are doing the love bombing, if they are malignant, if they are doing this whole, look, I'm this wonderful person, I'm your mirror, I'm your soulmate, this is the one you were supposed to be with, all this bullshit, they can't maintain it. People, I'm on the video, stop calling, shh. So they can't maintain it. They can't maintain it. So it's, their mask eventually will slip, and eventually, not always, but eventually everyone will see it because they can't maintain the fake niceness. They can't maintain the fake persona of who they are because who they really are is not pretty. And it comes out in raging. It comes out in lying. It comes out in cheating. It comes out in stealing. It comes out in bad-mouthing your children to you and convincing you to give up your own kids. That's how everybody knows that, hey, we're dealing with somebody who's freaking evil here because only evil people do that, okay? So, and I'm not talking the target of abuse. I'm talking about the abuser convincing the target of abuse through control, manipulation, emotional manipulation, et cetera, fogging you up, fear, obligation, and guilt in order to give up your own children. And they do. And it happens all the time. And it's really sad because there is so much damage done. And the kids get so fed up that they don't want anything to do then with the target of abuse unless and until the abuser goes away. Once the abuser is out of the picture, then we can start healing that relationship. But until that happens, it ain't gonna work. Because the abuser is going to continually push and twist and make things the kid's fault. Triangulation, that's what they do. All right, so yeah, the truth will always come out. It may take time and it might not be fast enough and it might not be on your timetable, but it does, it always does. Okay, the truth cannot be contained, yes. All right, that's absolutely true. Okay, now that I've been gone, all the flying monkeys are coming to me and saying, oh my God, you were right. Yeah, that's exactly what happens. Remember, these people, when they get to the malignant end, are con artists. They are, what's the word I'm looking for? They are the charming narcissist. They are the charming sociopath. I want you to think like Ted Bundy. Okay, charming. Nobody had any clue that this, clean-cut, good-looking guy was running around murdering women. Okay, he was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. He was able to maintain it for a very, very, very long time, but eventually it comes out. It does. They can't maintain it forever. And then the flying monkeys and the people that, were taken in by them go, oh my God, you're right, when the mask slips. So, yep. Okay. Okay, got that. All right. All right. What is the difference between a Hoover and a making of amends? This is very important. So, narcissists and malignant borderlines do not apologize. Ever. They do not take responsibility, like really. So here's how you know the difference. Actions and words, boom, match. Bada bing, bada boom. They're together. They are united. They are one. So actions and words are one. That's how you know that's a real apology. The actions and the words are matching. If the words are saying one thing, but the actions are doing another, then Houston, you got a Hoover. Does that make sense? So this is why people get taken in by the Hoovers, because they make the prettiest words. They do. I'm so sorry you felt that way. Notice what I said. I'm so sorry you felt that way. That's not an apology. That's a fuck you. So a real apology is, I am taking responsibility for my actions and my behaviors. I fucked up. My bad. I hurt you. And I am devastated that I hurt you. I am so sorry. And it will never happen again. And then bada bing, bada boom. It never happens again. That's a real apology. A Hoover is the pretty words. Oh, I'm sorry you felt that way. That's the narcissistic apology. I'm sorry, but you made me. That's a narcissistic apology. I'm sorry, but that's a narcissistic apology. All of those are narcissistic apologies. Not one of those is a real apology. So that's how you tell the difference between a making of an amend and a Hoover. So the making of an amend is, I am taking action on the bad behavior that I had, and I am taking responsibility, personal responsibility. I am to blame, or I am taking responsibility for my actions. Nobody else made me. Nobody else forced me. I did it. And I am sorry that I hurt you. That's an apology. That's an amends. Does that make sense? So that's how you tell the difference between a Hoover and an amend. The actions, the words match. Absolutely. And there's no buts, but you made me. I'm sorry you feel that way. I hurt you and I'm sorry. And it will not happen again. Boom, done. No story, no bullshit. The bigger the bullshit, the bigger the story. Guarantee it. They will, oh Lord, yeah. They'll do 4 or 5 pages of why you're to blame. Absolutely. Story. A real apology has no story. I hurt you. I acknowledge that I hurt you. I take responsibility for it. I am truly sorry, and it will never happen again. Boom. Done. That's a real apology. Okay. Hope that answered that question. Okay. Yeah, no, they cannot say the words, I'm sorry. It's always, I'm sorry, but I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm sorry, 5 pages of why it's your fault. Yeah, you bet. How do you tell the difference between flees from abusive history versus being an abuser? Generally, the person, if we're talking a target of abuse, the abusive behavior will not be there until they get with an abuser. So again, it's called identifying with the aggressor. So, and somebody else was pointing out that it's also, when you take it out on a safer target, it's violence. What kind of violence? Not direct violence, it's sideways violence. Oh, shoot, I'll think of it at 2 o'clock in the morning. Anyway, there's a word for it, and there's been some studies done and some articles written about in the nursing profession where it kind of trickles down. And so like, the doctors scream at the nurses and then the nurses scream at each other. Sideways violence. What am I trying to say? It's, anyway, not direct. It's this way. It's coming out sideways. Indirect. Yeah, indirect, but there's another word for it. And I'll think of it at 2 o'clock in the morning. Anyway, so it's where we don't take our anger out on the person that it really belongs with or to, and we take it out instead on a safer state. Yes, it is passive aggressive, but there's another word. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just brain gone. So there's another word for it, and I'll think of it, and on Sunday I will go, this word right here. Lateral. That might be it. Yes. Yes, yes. So it goes out sideways. It's like you're going after the people who it does not belong to, because the safer target, you can't go after a doctor because 9 times out of 10, they're probably a narcissist. I'm just saying. So you can't go after them, but you can go after somebody that's not going to, that's not going to, be able to get you. Okay. So yeah, it's kind of like the old saying of, boss yells at dad comes home, yells at mom goes and yells at the kid goes out and kicks the dog. That's kind of what it is. So, yeah, where was I going with that? Good God almighty. All right. What is the difference between, difference between Hoover and making amends. Okay. No, that wasn't what I was talking about. What the heck was I talking about? Anyway. So, yeah, so they don't ever say, I'm sorry. They can't, they won't. And if they do, it's not sincere. And that's why you must look at the actions. Actions, words must match. If they do not match, they are lying. There you go. That's it. Okay, so, all right. Religious abuse in institutions. Okay, so somebody wanted me to talk more about communal narcissists. Oh, hold on a second. My husband's ex is now trying to get their marriage annulled through the Catholic Church. They were divorced 8 years ago. I think it's just another Hoover. He's gone, no contact, and the youngest is no longer a minor. Ooh, wow, that's interesting. Fleas versus abuser. Thank you. Brain gone. Okay, so the difference between an abuser is that behavior has been there. It's been there. It's always been there. It's always going to be there. It's never not going to be there. With somebody who has been with an abuser, it's like they will have been the kindest, sweetest, most wonderful person you will have ever met, and you will have known them for like, a decade, and they will be great. They get with an abuser and suddenly they pick up all of the abuser's bad habits, all of their fleas, the raging, the screaming, the put down, the snarkiness, the nastiness, the, blaming, shaming, guilt tripping, lying, cheating. They suddenly pick up all this behavior, and you're sitting there looking at the target of abuse going, I've known this person for almost 10 years. How the frick are they acting like this? What the hell just happened? Well, they're in the fog. They're so desperate to be with a romantic partner that they lose who they are and become the abuser. Okay. Now, can that be fixed? Yeah, with therapy. Absolutely. You got to get rid of the abuser first. And then you got to get into therapy, and you got to work on the original wound. What caused the terror in the first place? Which parent abandoned you that caused you to glom on to this romantic partner that's a monster? To fuck, seriously. Displacement also. Yes, that is true. So that's how you tell the difference is fleas. They weren't there before the abuser. Fleas, they're there with the abuser and after the abuser until that person gets help and starts working on who they really are, because who they really are is not snarky, nasty, mean, awful, horrible, terrible, vicious, lying, cheating, scumbags, but the abuser is. So, yeah, so there's that. So that's how you tell the difference. It's like, if this person has been this way consistently for, 10 years and they've always been abusive, then they're in the abuser. If the target of abuse was not abusive, was kind, gentle, sweet, loving, honest, truthful, et cetera, and then suddenly gets with an abuser, and then suddenly their personality starts warping, yeah, then they are picking up fleas, and it needs to be worked on. Once you leave that a nasty relationship, you have to work on finding yourself and then making amends, because you will have harmed a lot of people on behalf of the abuser. i.e., hurting family, hurting friends, getting rid of your kids, being cruel, being nasty. Yeah, absolutely. You're gonna have a lot of amends to make. Absolutely. What is the difference between a narcissist and a borderline? Okay, so narcissism is all about grandiose behavior and control. Borderline is about the fear of abandonment. Two different things. And if you really want to know more, go on to, as I said, either the Mayo Clinic, and you can look up the definitions, the criteria for each, and you'll see what the differences are, because there's 9 for each, and I don't have time to go into that because I have got to go do stuff this afternoon. Yeah, so that's that. So that's the difference between the two. Okay, had a terrible, horrible mouth with my ex, including put downs because I was so sick of his crap. Now I'm 14 months out and I'm back to the old me. Yeah, it's amazing. You leave the abuser and suddenly you come back to yourself. Get with another abuser, boom, it's going to be right back. That's what happens if you don't work on yourself. So, hello, Jessica. Okay. Warped personality type requests knowing personal information after sharing. They remain apathetic. What does this conclude? So I posted a meme on how people behave when you're being vulnerable. So if you're having an emotional bad day and your partner is not supportive and in fact is like, stop crying, I don't want to hear it, I got problems of my own, blah, 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 you're dealing with somebody who has no empathy. I don't know if they have a personality disorder or not necessarily, but you're dealing with somebody who has absolutely no empathy and no way to relate to emotions because emotions scare them. So generally when you're dealing with narcissists, you're dealing with somebody who does not like scary emotions like the crying, like the sad, like the angry, like that, you know, they can get angry. They can scream at you. God forbid you have a bad day and you're like, motherfucker, I had a bad day. Bah, 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 bah. And they're like, why are you yelling at me? Bah, 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 bah. It's like, whoa, I wasn't yelling at you. I was venting. Hello. But they feel like it's okay to just at you. So anyway, there is that. Okay. He always said to talk to somebody else if I wanted to talk about my feelings. Yeah, you're dealing with somebody who is not emotionally available. They are lights are on, engines running, and ain't nobody home. You betcha. Yeah, they get mad when you cry. That's a huge sign that you're dealing with somebody who is damaged. Run. Do not walk to the nearest exit. That's all I can say. My ex-narcopath who has been stalking me for 3 years, physical and cyber stalking. 3 weeks ago, he was shut down by the legal cyber professionals for me. I'm feeling better about the freedom, yet I feel that I should be on guard still. How do I proceed from here? You still stay on guard. You did. I mean, once they may have been shut down, but they're going to try to find another way. And they'll usually do it through flying monkeys. That's usually their next step, is to do abuse by proxy. So what they do is they get somebody else to do their dirty work. So, and again, what you do is you just keep filing restraining orders. So if their buddies or their friends or their whoever are doing it for them, you file a restraining order on them and you just keep going down the line. Is it a pain in the ass? Yeah. Is it worth it? You betcha. So there that is. Okay. Oh, Grace, I'm so sorry. Yeah. So they don't know how to cope with death. Death frightens abusers like nobody's business. This is, leading into the communal. I'm going to get there. Yeah, nobody's allowed to feel but them. So death frightens abusers, and they can't handle grieving. They can't handle loss. They can't handle real, true, strong emotions. They cannot. This is why they're abusers, because if they could, they wouldn't be assholes. So that's basically it. All right. So, dude, where am I going? Religious abuse in institutions. That's where I was going. So communal narcissists. Somebody asked me to talk a little bit more about communal narcissists. So wait, hold on. Oh, wow, coming in fast and furious. How can you tell if someone is cyber stalking you? Well, they make nasty comments on your public pages, which I ban and block people, and I've got an intern that does that for me. They know things that they shouldn't know, which means you need to lock down your social media. So people don't understand. Social media gives out a lot of information. So in your personal pages, lock them down. Lock them down. Make sure that it's friends only, not friends of friends. Friends only that can see your posts, or whatever, platform you're on, okay? Make sure that it's only people you want to have see your information, because, what'll happen is that, say you forgot to lock it down, they'll go look at a picture and they'll see you with your new boyfriend or girlfriend, and suddenly you're getting text after text after text after, how dare you, you whore, you slut, you this, you that, and you're sitting there going, how the fuck did they know? Well, they saw a picture on social media. So that's why you got to be careful about things that you can share, people sharing stuff. You don't want your stuff out there. You want to try to make it as private as possible, especially if you've got a stalker. So yeah, you lock it down. You just lock it down. Yeah, it might be indirect, but I think it's lateral. I think it's lateral violence is what it was. Okay. All right. Okay. Will they leave you alone once they've gotten a new supply? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. It depends on how cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs they are, to be perfectly honest. Some of them, they get a new supply and it's like, peace out. You don't hear from them until, caveat, That supply goes bye-bye. When that supply goes bye-bye, they suddenly come back. Or here you go, they get a new supply, but they're enjoying triangulating. So they're using you as the third party in the relationship with the new girlfriend, new boyfriend, and they go after you because the two of them are getting their jollies off on going after you. That's another thing that happens. It just depends on how crazy they are, seriously. Because a normal person, if you don't like somebody or if something's weird or something's wrong and you're getting damaged, you go, okay, you know what? This is not healthy. I am backing out. You go live your life. I'm going to go live my life. Good luck. God bless. Hasta. And you're gone. And you don't bother that person again, unless and until that person is away from their abuser and they're ready to work on amends. That's great. But other than that, no, you leave each other alone. Phone. Really? Oh, Lord. Okay. So, all right. Cyber stalking, nasty comments all over. Yes. Stalking at the mall. Stalking on mail. Yes, they will do that through snail mail, mobile, internet, surveillance, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, you name it. They'll cyber stalk you. Don't do it. Don't allow it. Can you just hold on? I just need to see who's calling in case this is an emergency. Hang on. I'll be right back. And nope, nobody I know. Okay. All righty then. All right. Cool beans. Okay. So, all right. Sorry. All right, where was I? Cyber stalking. If you got death threats from him, girl, you go get an order of protection. And I mean, like yesterday, like seriously, like yesterday, like get an order of protection. Don't put up with that crap at all, period. And then you may want to go take a self-defense course. And like I said, I conceal carry. It's like, I'm not messing around. You're not taking my security away from me. Have a nice day. So yeah, go do things that are going to protect you. Absolutely. Yeah, all we ever wanted was for them to apologize and to be real human beings and be who they were in the beginning. Nope, they'll never be that. They will never be that. Let me say that again. I had a person call me today and I felt so bad because it was like, but really, there's no hope for them. Really, they don't ever get better. Really, they get worse. And it's like, how many of my videos have you watched? Yes, they don't get better. They don't get sane. They don't suddenly have this epiphany and go, gee, I could have had a V8. They don't do that. They get worse with age. They don't change, because to change means going inside and looking at what you did and taking responsibility for it. That's what change is. Change is like, where's my part in this? Okay, what do I need to do differently? Narcissists can't and will not do that. They can't and they won't. So don't expect it to them. I mean, it's, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different outcome. They are never going to change, ever, ever, ever. They're never going to change. Never. Nope. Nope. Done. Done. So, okay, there that is. Is it wrong to send them a new supply? Oh, karma. Yeah, not a good thing. Don't do that. That would be bad. This whole good, bad thing, that would be bad. Okay. Yeah, they are spineless. They're absolute cowards. They really are. They talk a lot. They do a good, the ones that are really crazy and the ones you do need to be very careful of are the psychopaths. So that's the dark triads. That's the narcissist with the psychopathy with the Machiavellianism, the control. So those are the ones that hurt animals, hurt kids, slash tires, vandalize homes, go to the employers and try to badmouth you to the employers. Those are the ones you really got to be careful of. Most abusers are fucking cowards. They are, because they're trying to attack somebody they feel is weak, which is the target of abuse. And the second the target of abuse starts standing up for themselves and the abuser realizes there's more than one set of eyes on this, they usually back off. Usually, unless they are truly crazy. And in which case, then you just do what you need to do to stay safe. You take self-defense courses, you go learn how to do concealed carry, you notify the police, you ask for the security to walk you to and from work. You do what you need to do, period. Okay, the judge denied it. Oh, that's frightening. And yeah, some judges are narcissists themselves, not surprising. So, you just gather as much evidence as you can when you go to do your order of protection and you turn it over to the judge and pray that they're not crazy. So, when my ex exhausted all social media avenues, he sent mail with no return address. Yeah. Yeah, and you still count that as abuse, and you still count that as they're violating the order, and you still count that as, yeah, this guy is continuing to harass me even though there's no return address. If it's him, and it's obvious that it's him, that's evidence. Go take it before a judge, get an order of protection. Okay, where was I? Religious abuse, right. For some reason, I keep avoiding that topic. All right, so communal narcissists. Communal narcissists can be found in any religion. Any religion. It always cracks me up when I get a whole bunch of very devout Christians screaming at me that I hate Christianity because I've said that. I am myself a Christian. I am also a practicing Buddhist. Buddhist is a philosophy. Christianity is a religion. Hello, they go together. So it can happen in any religion. Trust me on this. This is why I have said in previous videos, be careful of fucking gurus. You know, the ones who are like, you know, oh, I am on the mountaintop and I have this whole group of people and they're all, you know, doing exactly what I say and blah, 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 blah. And I'm, you know, I'm all knowing and all seeing. Okay, I am not all knowing and all seeing. I do know what I know, and I will tell you that, and I will also tell you when I don't know something, because I don't know it all. If I knew it all, kids, do you really think I'd still be here on this particular planet with these people in politics? No, I'd be somewhere else. So anyway, the point being is that you want to watch out for gurus. You want to watch out. So somebody had written me about a yoga retreat where they did sleep deprivation, and it's a way to control people. So so the things that narcissists do to abuse are used in POW camps, guys. They're used in cults. So like cults, narcissists. Cults, narcissists, cults, narcissists, cults, narcissists. Oh my God, look, they do the same thing. Yeah, so it's like the cults and the narcissists do the same thing. They do the sleep deprivation. They do the breaking you down, putting you down. You know, you're not as good as you think you are. Why do you think you're so wonderful? You're not, you know, blah, 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 but our leader is, you know, I mean, it's creepy. And so it's any religion can have narcissists at the top. So I was just watching a Josh Gates thing today, because I love Josh Gates. He's so cute. But and he reminds me of my nephew. It's so funny. Not the one that had the birthday, but another nephew. Anyway, so he was talking about Brother 13 up in Washington. And this guy in the 1920s had created this whole cult, and he was like a Rasputin, Jim Jones, David Koresh kind of thing. And so he got people to give him an outrageous amount of money. Like this one woman gave him, in today's money, $250,000 to buy this island. And then he put everybody to work. Like they were living in a farm setting, but then pretty soon he realized he had all the power. And so he started separating married couples, and he would go visit the wives, and he'd decide who he was going to sleep with that night. And yeah, absolute power corrupts absolutely. You betcha. So you will find these narcissists in any and all of these cults, or any and all of these religions. They can be in Buddhism even. Absolutely. If somebody is being cruel, vicious, mean, nasty, put down, make somebody not feel safe, then let me tell you something. They're not a guru. They're not your guru. They're not a good person. But they proclaim to be this guru who has the way. Yeah. So you got to be careful of that. And it's just like the sun, young moon. I don't know if you guys remember that. That's where the term love bombing came from, is that the Moonies would go out. You know, I'm from California, so I remember this when I was a kid. The Moonies would go out. We'd go to San Francisco, and they would be like, oh, but you know, we love you, and you need to da-da-da. And my father, who was military, was like, get the away from me, you know. So they do that. They do all of the techniques that a narcissist does. It comes naturally to them. The leaders are narcissistic. You don't think Jim Jones was a narcissist? He was a fucking psychopath. He was a narcissist. Absolutely. David Koresh, you bet. Okay? You don't get people to kill themselves and be sane. Really. Honestly. So that's the communal narcissist, is that they pretend to be spiritual. Oh, I'm this wonderful spiritual person, and I've got the hookup to the universe, and I know all the answers. If you will just give me all your money and not sleep. You know, I mean, they do things like that, and then they sexually abuse people. So, and that is actually something I'm going to be talking about on Sunday. I think Sunday I'm going to talk about the sexual abuse of abusers, because I've had so many people writing in and telling me their stories and going, oh my God, am I the only one? And I'm going to say, no, you're not. Sadly, you're not. So yeah, we need to talk about that. So yeah, so communal narcissists are the ones that hide behind the religion's robes, whether it be Jesus or Buddha or Allah or Bufa Baba, I don't know. They hide behind the robes and they pretend to be this all-knowing, all-seeing, I know you better than you. And you got to watch for that with fucking counselors as well. I'm sorry, guys. You guys know you better than I ever will. Ever. Because you know you. I am just guiding, okay? So it's like these counselors that are like, I know what's best and I'm going to tell you how to live your life. No, what I'm doing here is I'm throwing out suggestions. If they work, great. Take them, run with them. If they don't, toss them to the side. You do you. You trust you. Trust your gut. Trust your gut. Do not fall for fucking gurus. They piss me right the fuck off because they abuse people. They use people and they abuse people. They are not really there to heal people. They are there to jack their own ego up. That is basically it. Okay, communal narcissists. So, and you will find them in all religions. And that's why when I had a comment from somebody, oh, I'm really thirsty. Hang on a second. I had a comment from somebody, sorry, I got some ice, that was in a Buddhist community. And the Buddhist community turned out to be led by a very narcissistic person. And they were just like, how could this happen? Well, it happens, guys. Narcissists are drawn to power. Hello? Trump, anyone? You know, I mean, it's like politicians, come on. They're drawn to power. That power is their supply. They get off on that. They enjoy being in charge of other people's lives and being in the limelight and being in the spotlight. So they're in every walk of life. They live among us. They really do. So religious abuse in institutions, yes, absolutely. You look at the cults, David Koresh, Jim Jones, all of those nut jobs. What was the, oh Lord, the cult where the guy was absolutely crazy and he had all of his followers cut their nuts off and then they were all wearing Nike tennis shoes. Hale Bopp. I can't think of his name, but anyway, they all play the same playbook, guys. It's all the same playbook. Sleep deprivation, putting you down, making you think you're less than, making you think that they are your savior. That's what narcissists do, is they make you think that they are your savior. You are your savior. Seriously, you save yourself. Okay, wow. Okay, I hope that answered that question. Sorry, I got a little off on that. Okay. Okay. Good. Okay. Yeah, if the actions and the words don't match, then they're not really sorry. So keep that in mind. So, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice. No, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So if they do it more than once, then you cut them off. Done. We're out of here. Peace out. Okay. So wait, Kurt, I need a little bit more information. So your question is, why do women with these traits, behaviors contact an ex after months of no contact, after they break up with you to have sex? If you're talking about the abusers, it's because they're looking for supply. They're looking for supply. If you are talking about the target of abuse going back to an abuser, again, we are as addicted to that intermittent positive reward as a heroin addict is to heroin. It's addiction. It's the physiology of addiction. So the abuser is looking for the Hoover, and the target of abuse going back to an abuser is because they miss. Why do we miss our abuser? Ooh, it's because of the intermittent positive rewards. We miss that love bombing. We miss that person mirroring us. We fell in love with ourselves and didn't even know it because our abuser mirrored us perfectly. So that's why working on the self-esteem, working on the Disease to Please by Harriet Breaker, working on the CPTSD by Pete Walker, from Surviving to Thriving by Pete Walker. This is why it's vital, because when you're out of it, you don't want to go back to it. And if you're out of it and then your partner, your ex, comes back and tries to Hoover you, you want to be able to shut that door firmly and not even think twice about locking it. So does that make sense? So that's why it's the supply. It's supply if it's the abuser, and it's the missing the intermittent positive rewards if you're the target of abuse. It's an addiction. It's an addiction, and it drives me crazy when people say things like, oh, well, they must like it. No, they don't like the abuse. They like the intermittent positive rewards. They like it when their partner actually mirrors them for that brief moment of time, and then boom, they go back to abusing them again. So that's what we live for, is that intermittent positive rewards. In fact, I was just talking to Rick Points about this. He is the life coach I work with out of Iowa. And he is the one that I am referring people to if you need like a Skype session. So that's something else I'd like to clear up. Guys, I can't do Skype sessions. I can't. I won't. Don't make me. Because I'm licensed in the state of Arizona. So I can work with people who are residents, like you have a home here of Arizona. I cannot work with people flying in. I can't work with people, over Skype or phone or anything else like that. So I will refer you to either Lauren Archibek or I will refer you to Rick Points. These are the two that I trust, that I work with, that understand abuse, that understand addiction. Rick, his expertise is addiction. And it's the same whether it's drugs, alcohol, or person. The mechanics of it are all the same. So there is that. Okay. Well, hello, Nevada. Okay. Okay, Gwen, if they did it as a kid but not as an adult, would they switch back? If they have not worked on themselves, yeah. If you've worked on yourself, you don't, because you recognize that the payoff is not there, because the payoff is if you go back to bad behavior and you're hurting people, it's karma. And the world does not look kindly on treating people poorly, so, or at least the universe doesn't. Okay. So the abuse does not have to be physical, guys. Abuse is not what we think it is. I'm going to say this again and again and again until everybody out there gets it. Physical abuse and mental abuse. Is one worse than the other? They're all abuse. It's all abuse. It is all abuse. A psychopath cannot lay a hand on somebody and absolutely devastate them with their words. Psychopaths have gotten people to kill themselves. Hello, Jim Jones. Hello, David Koresh. Hello, the guy from Hail Bob thingy. Can't think of his name. Anyway, the point being, they can use words to hurt people. So are they psychopaths? Yeah, you betcha. If you're getting somebody to kill themselves or do something that they would not otherwise do for a guru, then yeah, they're a fucking psychopath. You bet. So it doesn't have to be physical, guys. So the typical thought of abuse is, oh, it's physical. No, it's not. It's not. It's verbal. Most of the abuse I see is verbal. Some of it is physical. Some of it is the black and eyes and the broken arms, but most of it is words harming the person. That is abuse, guys. If it's somebody putting you down, making you wrong, telling you you're worthless, calling you names, making fun of you, being snarky, being nasty, and meaning it, like not just an accidental, oh, I hurt your feelings, but I'm doing this on purpose. That's abuse. That's abuse. It's all abuse. Okay. A sociopath, Christine, to answer your question, is somebody who does not think that the rules apply to them. So antisocial personality disorder is they generally have had, Lord, brain gone. Prior to age 18, they've had run-ins with the law. They have had oppositional defiance disorder as kids, probably oftentimes not diagnosed, but most of the time diagnosed. And then they graduate onto, well, the world needs to do what I want it to do. So I'm going to steal, I'm going to cheat, I'm going to lie, I'm going to do whatever because the rules don't apply to me. That's an antisocial person. That's a sociopath. That's somebody who's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Okay. Oh, good Lord, Rebecca, I am so sorry. So her ex killed pet mice. I'm so sorry that they do that. And those are psychopaths. Those are absolute psychopaths because they don't see pets or children as real human beings. They see them as an object to be manipulated and used. And they see us as objects. We're not people to them. We are objects to be used. You've got to get that through your head. A true malignant narcissist, a true malignant sociopath, psychopath does not see the target of abuse or the pets or the children as pets and children like you and I would. Like you and I, it's like my pets are my babies. They are absolutely my babies. And to a psychopath, no, they're an object. Can I hurt this person with this? How will this make them feel if I kill this? And when you're dealing with psychopathic parents, they will intentionally kill pets in front of the kid. Oh yeah, it's some of the shit I hear, it's no wonder my hair is white. Seriously. So yeah, they do that. They do these horrible things, and it's them. It's not us, okay? They use pets, children as tools to hurt. That's all that we are to them. That's all that the pets are to them. That's all that the children are to them, is how can I hurt? Okay, where was I? Good Lord. Okay, withholding sex and forcing sex. I'm going to talk more about that on Sunday, so I'm going to table that one until Sunday, because that Sunday is going to be a whole discussion on sexual abuse, and it's going to include incest and between parent and child and sibling, because that often happens in these dysfunctional dynamics as well. So we'll talk about that on Sunday. I promise I'll get back to that. Okay, abuser's handbook. So somebody asked me when I talk about the abuser's handbook. So when I say there's an abuser's handbook, it's not like there's really an abuser's handbook, okay? It's not like you can go to the store and pick up the abuser's handbook. What I mean is that no matter where in the world, no matter what culture, no matter what sex, they all use the exact same terminologies, phraseologies, torture, sleep deprivation, put downs, snarkiness, nastiness, harming pets, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The behavior is the same across the board, across sexes, across cultures. No matter where in the world the abuser is, they all do the exact same thing. The exact same thing. They sleep deprive. They rage at people. They threaten. They intimidate. They harm pets and kids. They say things like, "You'll never find anyone to love you again. No one will ever love you the way I love you." That bullshit. Okay, 7 billion people on the face of the planet. You're going to tell me ain't nobody else out there? Bullshit. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, they all do the exact same thing, no matter where in the world they are. It is literally, and the cults, again, run by dark triads, all do the exact same thing. So in the cult that I was talking about, the Brother 13 up in Washington in the 1920s, he did the same thing that Koresh did, the same thing that Jim Jones did. He would get people to come out and work. So they were literally hooked to plows, and they were plowing the fields like oxen. And they weren't allowed to get enough food. They weren't allowed to get enough sleep. And so they were easily manipulated because they were exhausted and they were starving. And that's what cults do. And that's what narcissists do to the targets of abuse. They keep us not able to relax because we're constantly walking on eggshells. They keep us up at night. They rage, they scream. Nothing is ever good enough, right? That's exactly what targets of abuse go through, and that is also what cults do to their targets of abuse, because they are all run by dark triads. Oh, yeah, okay. All right, hang on. All right. Oh, you're going in for your concealed carry. Excellent. Yeah, so it cracks me up when very, very religious people get caught with their hand in the cookie jar, as it were. And they're usually the ones that are professing to be holier than thou, and their shit doesn't stink, and da-da-da-da. It turns out, oh, they've been screwing the entire congregation. Yeah, and guys, again, please don't start screaming at me, because this happens in any religion, any cult, any religion, any institution where power can be abused. It happens. It happens. That's why you've got to be careful. That's why you've got to be careful of what you join, who you let in your life, who are you listening to, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, when you leave an abusive relationship, you want to get rid of all, if you've been in close contact with the abuser, they're living with you, get rid of all your electronics, just start over fresh, honest to God, because you cannot always tell, even the security people cannot always tell if there's tracking devices on them or if there is keystroke loggers on them. So abusers will do that. They will put keystroke loggers on your computer. They'll put keystroke loggers or, devices on your phone Just get rid of them, start fresh. Get rid of them, start fresh, get a new phone number. The people that need to know where you are will find you because you'll give it to them. Does that make sense? Oftentimes I'll have people go, oh, I can't do that because blah, 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 blah. Well, obviously you still like the drama. Get rid of it. Get a brand new, fresh computer, get a brand new, fresh phone. Don't even mess with it. Be done. Are you done being abused? Be done being abused. That means you start fresh. They have no way to contact you, no way to stalk you, no way to find out where you are, or who you are, or talking to, or whatever. Because a lot of these things have got programs on them that can turn on the mic so they can listen in, or they turn on the video so they can see what you're doing. You don't want that. Don't do that. Don't allow them. Don't allow them. You've got the power. Don't allow them. Okay. All right, let's see what else. Well, okay, now with hacking with Facebook, yes, they do hack on Facebook to be sure, but what I like to do is I like to use the programs that pick the numbers, the symbols, the this, the that, and it's random, and it makes it a hell of a lot harder for them to get in. Now, have people tried to hack into my account? You betcha, but I have that two-system process, so I get notified when somebody tries to log in from a computer that is not recognized. So you want to take as many precautions as you possibly can. Absolutely. Okay, yeah. So yeah, they will do, okay. Glad you brought that up, Jessica. So a lot of abusers will claim that they are either a special connection to God, like they've got the God hotline going on, or that they're psychic. It's amazing how many of them do that. You know, suddenly they've got the hotline to the universe and they're psychic. Now, do I believe in psychics? Yes, I do think that there are sensitives out there. I do think that there are people that are psychic, abso-freaking-lutely. I'm not going to deny that. But the caveat is, if this person has been abusing the shit out of you and they suddenly claim that they're psychic, Houston, I can guarantee you they're not. So what they are is a con artist. What they are is, what was that show? Oh, that show with the cute little Australian guy, and he was blonde, and he worked for the Sacramento, what was the name of it? The Mentalist. Yes, The Mentalist, yes. So he's a mentalist. What he did is he watched micro expressions. This is what they do, guys. I don't know if you've ever noticed this or not, but our abusers are almost psychic. Well, what they're doing is they're doing what a mentalist does, which is you watch body language, you watch micro expressions, you listen for tones of voice, you listen for clues, and then they do these things to try to, you know, make it look like they know you better than you do. That's what a mentalist does, okay? So they're con artists, basically. And so when somebody who's an abuser does that, they're not a real psychic, they're a con artist, they're a mentalist. What they're doing is they're watching your facial expressions, your body language, and the micro expressions and things like that. And narcissists are very adept at doing that. How do you think they got to the point where they could mirror you so well? Because they were watching what you did. Absolutely. So there's that. Yeah, they're not psychic by any stretch of the imagination. Nobody knows you as better than you do. Nobody, not me, not anybody. You know you better than anybody. If something resonates with you, run with it. If it doesn't resonate with you, chuck it to the side and find something else. Okay? That's the big thing. Trust your gut. Trust your gut. Trust your gut. That's the biggest thing I've got to say. Okay. They create a situation and play savior. Yep, they certainly do that as well. Okay. All right. Gwen, if you move to AZ, I got to warn you, the summers are brutal. Like 120 degrees in June. Good Lord. I won't be here in the summer. I try to be gone. The winters are great though. Okay. Yeah, almost all male, and some female do this too, but I've seen it in the male ones specifically because they're very much into the guru thing. I don't know why it is, but the dark triad males are very much into the guru thing, and I suspect it has to do with the harem thing, you know, the power, the supply, and they do that whole I'm psychic bullshit. So yeah, be careful of that. Physical, emotional, mental, financial abuse. Yeah, they absolutely do that. Okay. All right. Yes, these posts are public. When I put them up on YouTube, though, the posts don't show up, but they are on Facebook. So just to let you know. Okay, so Kay, it is an addiction. How do you think addictions are learned? It's from the family. Yeah, absolutely. So yes, it is learned behavior, but then we become the dopamines, the endorphins, the serotonins. Whenever they spike, whenever we get that positive stuff from them, that intermittent positive rewards, and it's just exactly like an addiction. And yes, we are groomed by our family, which is why I keep telling everybody, do the inner child workbook. Do the inner child workbook. There's one by John Bachman. There's another one by Catherine Taylor. Either one is good. Work the inner child workbook and start working on that inner child. Work on the original wound. Because what we're trying to do is we get with somebody who reminds us of the original caregiver that we had the issue with, and we're trying to fix that original wound by dating somebody very similar. Well, if I can just make them love me, then mom or dad was wrong. Well, it doesn't work that way. What it does is compound the original wound, and now you've got a whole bunch of other crap to deal with. So you've got to fix the original wound. Abso-freaking-lutely. Okay. Making sure I'm getting all these questions. Okay, Callie, conversely, you're absolutely right. Some, not all, but some abusers will actually treat the animal better than the person. And I've actually heard of people sitting their family down and saying, I love my dogs more than you. That's a horrible thing to say to somebody, to a child especially, and they have said it to children. So abusers will do that. Abusers absolutely will give more attention to a dog or a cat or, you know, a horse than they will a person. And they will let the person know that. Absolutely. So it can go either way. They either kill the animal or they let the family know you mean nothing to me. My dog or my cat or my horse means more to me than you do. And that's a horrible thing to say to a child. That really is. You know, don't get me started. Okay. So yeah, they will absolutely do that. Yes. Christine, in answer to your question, you don't do something and then point the finger at the other person and go, it's your fault. So he's projecting. It's projection. It's projection. Okay. Yeah, they'll disappear. They'll find a new supply and just disappear. Okay. Hang on. Yeah, block all numbers. And they'll call from payphones. They'll call from friends' phones. They'll call from Flying Monkeys phones. And you know what? You block them. Even if it's a friend of yours, block them. Because they're not really your friend. If they're allowing the abuser to contact you, they're not really your friend. Absolutely. Okay. All right. Okay, let's see. Yes, Richie Grannon has a 21-day program. I love his stuff. So, you know, go for Richie Grannon. Go for Kim Saeed. Go for Melanie Tanya Evans. Any of us, guys, any of us have got good programs to start working on boundaries, self-esteem, inner child work, you betcha. Okay. Okay, addiction and narcissism. Very oftentimes the narcissist will also have an addiction issue, either drugs, alcohol, or porn, or sex. So yeah, you want to be watching for that because they will oftentimes have some sort of addiction issue as well. Because remember, they're self-medicating. They're self-medicating. They can't stand the thoughts that they have and they'd rather project them out onto somebody else. And so to dull that, they get involved with another person. That's why you often see narcissists have multiple affairs because they're trying to get supply, they're trying to be distracted, they're trying not to think. So that's what's going on. Yeah, so there's often another addiction going on of some sort. Smoking, you know, they smoke to the point where the house is now, the walls are turning yellow. That's an addiction. Drinking, eating too much, that's an addiction. They'll have something going on. You betcha, absolutely. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. So where was I? Okay. Withholding sex, I'm going to talk about on Sunday. Abuser's handbook. I covered that. More on fawning. Okay. So I did not get a chance to discuss the fawning in the video I did on Sunday. I was a little distracted. So Okay. Fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. Okay. So fawning is when we give into our abuser. And honestly, I think this is something I'm going to talk about on Sunday as well. So say, for example, you have an abuser that's demanding sex, okay? And you're tired and you're like, not tonight. I'm exhausted. I have to be up at 4 o'clock in the morning to get to work and da-da-da-da-da. Well, then they start raging because you've said no. And now you're terrified that they're going to hurt you. So you give in to them. That's fawning, okay? Is that rape by deception? Yes, because you're doing something you don't want to be doing and something that you initially said no to. And the threat is if you don't give in to me, I'm going to destroy the house, I'm going to destroy your pet, I'm going to hurt your child, I'm going to hurt you, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I want to talk more about that on Sunday. So fawning is part of the fight, flight, freeze center. It's how we stay safe. It's not a good, it's a maladaptive way to stay safe. And we think in our heads that if we give in to our abuser that we'll be safe. Well, you'll be safe for that moment in time. But what the abuser is doing in their head is they're going, okay, to get my way, all I need to do is throw a vase at the wall. See where I'm going with that? And it's never going to stop. It's just going to keep getting worse and worse and worse and worse. So that's why you've got to be careful about fawning. So we'll talk more about that on Sunday. So, okay, there that is. More on why families and friends and society at large don't get it. Okay, here's the reason why. Short story, long story short. They don't get it because people don't, normal people don't act like that. Normal people don't think like that. Normal people don't go off into rages and get off on hurting people and enjoy seeing somebody cry or, you know, get that rush of power by controlling and manipulating them. Normal people don't feel that stuff. And it's so hard to get, quote unquote, normal people who have not been in an abusive relationship to understand that there is a segment of society out there that absolutely enjoys hurting people, absolutely gets off on control and manipulation, absolutely wants to see somebody cry, absolutely. Do you see where I'm going with that? Because what we naturally do is we assume that everybody acts the way we do. Now, this plays against us if we are the target of abuse, because our brains gets that cognitive dissonance, because our brain goes, well, but I would never do this, but I would never stop somebody from doing what they loved, but I would never blah, blah, blah. And then we are totally shocked and taken aback when our abuser behaves in a way that we would not and really shows us who they are. So that's the cognitive dissonance. It's like we go, well, I would never act that way, therefore they will never act that way. But then they do act that way, and then we're like shocked, like literally like slap in the face shocked. Like, how could they? But I would never do that. Well, you're absolutely right. You wouldn't, but those motherfuckers would. So that's cognitive dissonance. And that's what people have a hard time wrapping their head around, is that there are people out there that do enjoy abuse. They enjoy being the abuser. They absolutely do. Okay, I'm running out of time. Holy crap. Okay, incest I'm going to talk about on Sunday. Learned helplessness. Okay. Learned helplessness is a way to get attention. Learned helplessness is a way to get attention. So, for example, my mother, God love her, she's gone. She's on the other side. But she would, whenever my sister came into town, she suddenly turned into this completely helpless 5-year-old. Seriously, it was inner child stuff. I'm sure of it, because her mother was a narcissist. So I would, go to visit. My sister would come into town. Suddenly this very capable, very kick-ass broad that I really liked, once my dad died, would suddenly turn into this completely, pile of mush on the ground. Oh my God, I don't know how to work a computer. That woman worked a computer like you could not believe. She was 89 years old. She knew her way around a computer. Don't give me that. And she would suddenly be helpless. She would suddenly be like, oh, I can't do this and I can't do that. Why? Well, my theory is that my sister reminded her of her mother. And that, she wanted that approval that she never got from her mom, from her daughter. It's messed up. So learned helplessness, there's a payoff. What's the payoff? What do you get out of it? It's attention. It's attention. It's the, oh, here, let me do it for you. Oh, here, let me show you I love you by doing it for you. Okay, that's what it is. It's a payoff. There's a payoff to it. So what is the payoff? The payoff oftentimes is attention. So that's what the learned helplessness is about. And it depends on who they're trying to get the attention from. So it's all goes back to inner child stuff, I'm telling you. Just work on the inner child. Most of that shit will clear up. But yeah, so learned helplessness it's a payoff. What's the payoff? Who are you getting the attention from? Who's giving you the attention that you wanted? Or who is that person getting the attention from that they wanted? Does that make sense? All right, so there that is. Learned helplessness. Body language of abusers. Okay. Body language in abusers. So when they are trying to intimidate, they will puff themselves up. They will make themselves as big as they can. They will, do whatever it is to intimidate, basically. I'm not sure what that question was. It was like, talk more about the body language of abuse. But also the body language of the target of abuse is important as well. So for example, when I am dealing with somebody that has to go into court against an abuser, I will work with them like crazy in doing mirror work in the mirror as to how they sit, what their facial expression is, how they carry themselves when they walk into the courtroom. Because there's a big difference if you walk into a courtroom, okay, like that. I'm sorry, those abusers are like sharks. That's chum in the waters for them. They smell blood. They smell the fear. They smell the fear. And remember, guys, there's a lot of attorneys out there that are narcissists as well. And so if they sense that you are weak in any way, shape, or form, that's what they're going to go for when they get you up on the stand. They're going to make you a nervous fucking wreck. So your mission, should you choose to accept it, is you've got to practice your body language. And your body language, even though it feels weird, I want you to have the chest wide open. I want you to be sitting straight up. I want you to be, neutral face, zen. You're not going to do anything to give either the opposing attorney or the narcissist any fuel at all. In fact, I want you to make them sweat. And the best way to make them sweat is you walk in owning the room. Seriously. Like when I walk into a room, people know I'm there. You know why? I own it. I walk in. I am who I am. You either like me or you don't. I don't care. Here I am. Boom. And I very rarely get messed with. Only by the stupidest of the stupid. So yeah, and then they learn very quickly. So yeah, you own the room. You own the room. You do not walk in slouched. You don't walk in like, oh God, okay. No. You walk in there going, I have a right to be here. This is my courtroom too. Sorry, I'm not sorry. Sorry, I'm not sorry. You just do that. You own it. So open your chest, sit up straight. If you need to be writing stuff down, like so for example, when I work with Brent, so if I need to be writing stuff down, I just have a notepad in front of me and I'll just write notes. If the narcissist or the attorney says something ridiculous, I'll write it down and then I'll show Brent, So yeah, that's what you do. So there that is. Okay. Okay, running out of time. Adopted or step parents trying to erase the bio parent. Generally what you're dealing with is a narcissist. So when a step parent marches in and declares that they are now dad or they are now mom and they make the kids call them dad or mom, Houston, we got a huge problem. Because they are not the mom or the dad, they are the stepmom or the stepdad, or they are Annie or Bill. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like just in a healthy, normal situation, okay, in a perfect world, a couple gets divorced, okay? They outgrew each other. They got married when they were 18. They realized by age 30, this is not going to work. They've gone in different directions. And then they remarry. Then hopefully it's amicable. And hopefully when they get the new partner in, the new partner recognizes that they are not dad or mom. They are the stepdad or the stepmom. And hey, call me Bill or call me Annie or call me, I'm just pulling names out of my hair, and they don't try to erase the bio parent, but a narcissist will walk in and demand to be called mom or dad and demand that the kid never speak about that bio parent ever again. Why? Because they're threatened. It's so stupid. It's like, okay, if they're marrying you, then they're not a threat. Trust me. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, they will do. And it's usually a narcissist that you're dealing with. So be aware of that. Okay, let's see. Okay, wait. My ex would love to tell me she can do whatever she wanted and to be around whoever she wanted, but would turn around and try to control everything I did, micromanage, including, yeah, they micromanage, absolutely. Hurt people, yep. You betcha. It's not pretty. Okay. Okay. Megan, I'm not sure that's you. So I'm going to say hi, Megan. I'm also going to say hi, Vern. There we go. All right. All right. Let's see. All right. I think that's it for that. Yeah, and it goes vice versa. The bio parent could be threatened by the step parent, but you never try to erase each other. What you want is, it takes freaking village. You try to raise this kid and you put your ego aside and you make sure the kid is okay. The kid is the main focus. Once you have a child, even if you get divorced, that kid needs to be okay. And so you don't allow your ego to run the show. You allow the decisions to be made that are the best for the child and the family unit as a whole. There is that. Okay, let's see. Magic thinking. Okay. NPD, BPD, magic thinking. So what people with a personality disorder will say or do is they do magic thinking. In other words, if they say it's true, then it's true, even though it's not. So that's magic thinking. So magic thinking is like the little kid, ooh, there's an airplane going over. Like the little kid pulling up the blanket and saying, if I don't see the monster doesn't see me. That's magic thinking, because clearly the monster can see you. So, so narcissists and borderlines, when they get malignant, start participating in this magic thinking. Well, just, because I say it's this way, it's going to be this way. And then when it's not this way, they absolutely come unglued. I love my nephew. So they absolutely come unglued because reality does not match their magic thinking. And remember, with both the narcissist and the borderline, when they get to the malignant end, remember I'm talking malignant, I'm not talking traits up. When they get to the malignant end, if reality does not match their version of reality, their magic thinking, that's when they come unglued. That's when they get angry. That's when they start throwing things. That's when they, because it needs to be their fantasy. They live in a fantasy world, guys. Both of them live in this fantasy world, and especially the narcissist, where it's this fantasy of unlimited power, unlimited control, unlimited beauty, unlimited perfect love. Nothing's perfect. It's not. It's good enough. Shit happens, but narcissists can't handle that. If anything is less than perfect, they come unglued because they feel that's a reflection on them. So I hope that answered the question. There are some questions on here I did not cover because I want to go more in depth in them. So on Sunday, I will be talking about sexual abuse from narcissists, from abusers, narcissists and borderlines, malignant. So that will be Sunday at noon on We Need to Talk. I also wanted to remind you, I am still doing the book signing at Changing Hands Bookstore in Tempe, Arizona, March 23rd at 7 p.m. I would love to see you guys there. That would be awesome, because I'd like to put names with faces and things like that. That would be great. I'm also doing a book signing, 2 book signings, one at Postman Books on April 21st, and also one at Tall Tale Books, also April 21st. I believe the one at Postman's is from 2 to 4, and the one from Tall Tales is from 6 to 7, I believe is what the time is. And then on April 22nd, I am doing a lecture at the Smyrna, oh God, I hope I said that right, Smyrna, Georgia Community Center. Tickets will be on sale at Eventbrite. So what you're going to do is you're going to go Eventbrite, Atlanta, Chris Godinez, boom, all of my stuff will pop up. You'll be able to click on there and buy tickets to it. So that would be great. So that's in April. So, okay, so let me just recap here. All right, so March 23rd, Changing Hands. Please be there. I'd love to see you guys. That'd be awesome. And then in April 21st, I will be at Postman Books. I'd like to thank Mark Stiles for inviting me to go do a book signing there. That was awesome. And books will be available for sale prior to the book signing. So I'm shipping the books out to them this week. And that's from 2 to 4. And then also at Tall Tales in Atlanta, Georgia. I will be there from 6 to 7. And then on the 22nd at, I think it's 1, oh my God, I will be at the Smyrna Community Center doing a lecture on these topics. So please join me. I would love to see you. It would be great. Go to Eventbrite to get the information on that. I'm out of time. I got to go. All right, guys, have a great day. And I will see you on Sunday. Get your questions ready. Talk to you later. Bye.